AJ.
I'm Satin.
And welcome to Rooted in Real, where genuine conversation meets grounded perspective. Now listen, fun fact. If you happen to watch our first video, I definitely said the wrong catchphrase. I said where genuine conversation meets guided perspective. We ain't guiding nobody.
Yeah.
Okay? Let Jesus guide you, let your mama guide you, let your pastor and your therapist guide you.
Right.
I'm just talking about some grounded perspective from our point of view.
Yes.
So let's try again. I'm AJ.
I'm Satin.
And welcome to Rooted in Real, where genuine conversation meets grounded perspective.
Hey!
Got it right.
You did
and
it.
y'all give me some grace. It's only our second episode, okay? I have zero experience in this matter.
I think we can only look for better things. We can go up from here.
Yeah, only up from here.
Yeah.
All right, Sad, what's up? How your week been? I ain't seen you since last Friday.
It's been fantastic. It's been awesome. And that is a lie, but we're told to speak those things that be not as though they already are.
Yes. Good try.
As
the new people do the clock it. I got you.
Who?
You know,
Yeah.
Kids, all the cool kids are doing the clock
I'm too old for that, but I'm gonna try. I try to keep up. But it's not been bad. It hasn't been bad at all.
Good. I mean, work was busy. It was what it was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't terrible. I made it through. It's Friday, off day. Hey.
Yes. And for me, every day is my off day. I mean,
that is nice for you.
It is fantastic for me.
You got that.
I mean, you don't make no money doing it, but it's
okay because this podcast is gonna blow up one day.
It's gonna blow up. It's gonna make plenty of money.
Yes, we're gonna do it.
Really, I wanted to start this podcast so I could have something to do.
And here we are doing it.
Yes, and to keep myself occupied. You can only.
Jackson's been trying to learn Spanish, so I've been saying Spanish words to him. So
I feel like you should use them more frequently.
Oh, don't do that. Hamburguesa.
I still feel like that's not
it. Her daughter got a degree.
Yes.
In Spanish, am I correct? And told me that I was correct. I just said the H too hard.
You are correct.
Hamburguesa. Anyway. Today, friendship is our topic for this episode and probably the next episode, depending on how long this one takes us to talk about it.
Yeah.
But Satin was trying to say in our first episode that she found an interesting article on the friendship shelf theory.
Yes.
Having different shelves for your different friends and not saying like everybody's your best friend or you don't have any friends. Like some people are acquaintances and things that. So what you think about this article?
It was a good article. It's in Self magazine and the author was Rebecca Fern. Mm-hmm. And so it was
She's British. A spot of tea. Sorry.
A spot of tea. My kids do a very good British accent. I know this is a side note. They do very good accents.
Man, I wish I could.
I can't speak English. I can't speak English properly. You can tell the last episode I couldn't even think of words.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, but go on. So written by a British lady.
Yes, and the reason why is because when I was looking up things or I was thinking about our conversation that we had regarding friendship, and I was like, and I just happened to just be scrolling on Yahoo, because that's what one does when
they have no job.
No job, absolutely. And I seen that article, and I was like, that kind of goes in line with what we've been talking about the different relationships and the different friendships, especially coming off of us talking about how we were introduced and things of that nature and our connection and how our relationship started off casual and it just deepened over time, which I think is the optimal position or the optimal
way to build a genuine friendship.
Yes.
Is to start off small and build.
Right. And then, just to have things along the line that bond you together that are not always necessarily trauma, but are, like-minded, iron sharpened iron type thing.
I'm trying. She really iron and I'm like wood, but I'm trying to get like iron.
I don't even understand. I don't understand how I became so responsible in that. Because
I don't either, but hey.
I'm really just trying to figure this thing out. It's my first time here on Earth.
The 10 years that we've known each other, as we discussed with y'all. But I've noticed that you are definitely the iron. And I'm you know what? Maybe I'm not wood. Maybe I am just a flexible iron.
I think
it's working on becoming sharp.
Yes, and I think it's because your life has been a little bit more stable.
Oh, true. I didn't have a whole, and then when I did have the traumas later on in life, it was too much of a shock because I didn't have none earlier on. I didn't know how to handle them.
You like shut down. You shut down.
I didn't know how to handle it, but we'll get to that on another.
We'll get to that on another episode.
One day that'll probably be an episode where I cried. I'm not looking forward to it, but here we are because I said I was doing this and I'm all in.
Well, if you cry, I'm gonna cry. I cry at Moana.
Wait, when the grandma dies, or when she comes back,
and then just her finding her culture, her bringing her people, and then
cried
bringing
at the-
them out of
You
fear.
know what? I can't lie. I
and-
cried Lion
I
King.
mean,
You
that,
can't-
and then
Bambi?
how old are you? To be
How you
crying at
something like
Bambi.
that?
I mean, that's like an old school
Well,
trauma.
yeah. And when I was little, and then my daddy, this is last side note, then we went on to the friendship thing.
Yes, we'll
my
move on to
daddy
that.
gave me deer meat one time at a hamburger, and he didn't tell me. And he was like, how does that taste? I said, it's a little bit different, but I like it.
Yeah.
He was like, you just ate Bambi.
Venison.
He said, you just ate Bambi. That's
You
what
just
that man
ate
said. You
Bambi.
just ate Bambi. And I was like,
He creating trauma.
I mean, I was
after my
probably like
own heart.
9, 10 years old. I still remember it like it was yesterday.
Man
See what
after
I'm
my
talking
own
about?
heart.
Don't have to be terrible trauma to be rememberable or to be memorable.
That's right. That's correct.
So here we are. Okay, so back to the article, back on task.
Right. So we wanted to discuss friendships with acquaintances versus what you consider a true friend.
Right.
That was what I thought about. Just because I have so many interactions with people, I'm a very unsociable. Is it unsociable? I don't know. I'm an
You're
ambivert.
social.
I'm an ambivert.
You can be more social than I can be at any
Yes.
given time of the day. any time of
I'm
the
really
week.
good at just interjecting myself into situations. Like my life has been 99% uncomfortable, and I think that's a habit now. It's just to be wherever I'm at. I'm comfortable in the uncomfortable. I'll say that.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah,
when
just
I'm
all the
uncom-
time.
I don't like to be uncomfortable.
And so I think when I get in social settings, I look for the stability. I create my own safety, and I create.
Okay.
So I think that comes with even with friendships and connections. So if I start connecting with a person, and I immediately evaluate that relationship and determine like where is that person going to fit in my
Where they
life,
fit
or
in the
if that
shelf.
person is going to fit at all. And this is not. I'm not talking about just casual interactions with people. I'm talking about people like if I see them every day at church, or if I,
Yeah.
when I was working and I see them at work, like how are these people going to be intertwined into my life? Or are they going to even be friends, or are they going to just be acquaintances only known by that setting in which we are
Yeah.
in?
Now, I will say this article did mention about having people not have to stay on one shelf.
Yes.
So
yes.
like if there could be fluidity.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a rigid situation where you're like, ooh, this
You can
one
only
thing
stay
happened,
here.
so now
Yeah.
you stay here.
Right.
They could always move back. Now, if you put somebody at the top and they mess up. They mess
Right.
up royally. Because I also have had a situation where I put someone towards the top
Yes.
and they messed up
Yeah.
pretty good. But what it made me do was evaluate what I thought friendships were supposed to be like.
Right.
Why did I decide that person was trustworthy?
Right.
To know what I told them. Like, why did I
Right.
think that it was going to be okay? And what gave me the notions? Like, and so in therapy, just today actually, she was like, so what do you think is a trustworthy person? So when I started telling her how I feel.
Yeah.
And she said, so they technically didn't do anything specific to make you think
Right.
that they were trustworthy.
Right.
You feel like they're similar to you, and since you're trustworthy,
Right.
now they are. And I
Right.
said, maybe.
You're looking for you and other people.
Maybe. And she said, because she also asked me, how different are my friends from me? And I said,
Right.
not very. I said, the biggest difference I have is with you,
Right.
just based on you're an extrovert and I'm an introvert.
Right.
Other than that, besides drama, there's no
Right.
big differences. Like, we're both married, we're both Christians, we both have children. Like,
Right.
we both want to raise our children to be independent and fierce
Right.
and wonderful humans. Like,
The foundation of our friendship is very solid
yes.
and very
So
connected.
in my mind, you're trustworthy.
Right.
Because you're like me. But also now, because of the way that you've treated me, I know that
Right.
you are trustworthy because of what you've done.
And I think that is probably the baseline. That's probably the minimum to find out if somebody's trustworthy, is to see how they not only interact with you in your good situation, in your good times, but how they interact with others in their bad times.
Right.
Now that is truly how I determine whether someone deserves to be considered a friend or an acquaintance.
Right.
And deserves to be put on a different type of shelf, or deserves to have access to me, or what level of access they get to have to me, is based off of not only how they interact with me, because again, I'm someone that can, I don't want to say camouflage or,
But you can blend in with different people.
right. I don't, and so because I know I can do that myself, it takes a while before I'm absolutely just like, okay, that person is going to be my friend and
Yeah,
acquaintance, because if
or that
I can
person's
do
not for
it,
me.
yes, because if I can do it,
Y'all can do it.
you can do it.
You can be anybody you
and
wanna
then
be.
their ability to do it might have nefarious, intent.
Yes.
They might be manipulative. So I have to see how other people interact with other people. So for instance, if there's someone in a setting, let's say at work, and this person is always a confrontational coworker, they're not,
Right.
they have a terrible personality, whatever the situation is. and the person that I'm considering to be a friend or acquaintance, every time they interact with that person, they have such a negative experience and they're not able to see a positive. Now, I'm not saying that there's a positive in everyone, but if you work with someone, you have to find some kind of common ground because you're there all the time. And if you want to make your workplace be,
you gotta make it work.
You got to make it work. And so I don't want to go somewhere where I'm going to be the majority of the time with them more than I'm with my family. And it, and it just be a terrible experience. So I have to find some type of common ground, even if that takes me swallowing crow, so to speak. Even if that, because I feel like that's where ego comes into. I'm not lowering myself to you, the pride, all of the things. I would just lower myself, to not enough to where it puts my feelings aside, but enough to say, okay, where am I going to place this person? Give them an opportunity. Give them an opportunity to show themselves to you.
Right. And when you say that, Pastor one time during Bible study, she was like, okay, everybody write down one person that you feel like just, oh my gosh, they get on your nerves so bad. They're just awful. You cannot seem to find anything with them, can't find a common ground, can't find whatever. You write the person down and then she goes, now think about that person and think about how they're similar to you.
Right. Because
is it the fact that you don't like them? Is that a personality trait that you have?
Yes.
That you see in them and you don't like?
Usually that's what it is. I mean, I think that's one of the good things about being a Bible believer or being a believer in Christ is that he gives you this opportunity to see yourselves in others. And that's how you bring connectivity, because you're in a building every Sunday, every Wednesday, and when I was growing up 7 days a week. You're in this place all the time with these people, and there has to be a common ground besides just that we both serve God, because everybody's relationship with God is different, and every level in the kingdom of God is different. When you're first starting out as a babe, or you're eating meat, or you're drinking milk, all of those different levels, and so there has to be more common ground. There has to be something other than we go to the same church or we all believe in God, because there's going to be different auxiliaries that you're going to be on together. That you have to find a common ground with.
You just call them auxiliaries.
That's what they call them in a Baptist church.
See, at my missionary Baptist church in Augusta, you was on different. I can't think of the word.
I don't know.
You was in different
committees.
It wasn't a committee. Oh, my mom was in all of them. She's a trustee. She's an alma bearer. She was. And my
They're
dad
not called auxiliaries at yours.
No, we don't call them.
Missionary Baptist church.
I went to this church forever and a day.
Ministries. That's right.
I was on different ministries. I was on the youth choir. Then I got into the other choir. Then I was a red matron, red circle girl. Yes, girl. I was out here learning how to be sociable and equitable and stuff.
Yes.
Anyway,
the church. Side note: the church is such a good ground for training. It is. If you take advantage of it,
and if it's a good place to be, if it's a good church to be at, and they're training you in the way that you really should go, then it really does set a good foundation for who you're going to be when you become an adult.
How you interact with other individuals that have somewhat similarity but are complete total opposites of you.
Yes, because you've met plenty of people at this church that may be, they all Christians, but they all have differences that you aren't used to.
And then some of them don't fully believe. Some people still fully believe especially when you're first coming into the kingdom of Christ, you have this belief that I can still live the way I lived and come to Christ. Or you might not even have that realization. You just don't even know how to distinguish it. Yeah. But anyway, so the different auxiliaries, I think, is one way. Also with the different levels. When because at your church, at your church, at the church that we met at, I'll say that. At the church that we met at, I was on several different auxiliaries, and I have always been somebody that is totally against being out front in leadership.
Which is crazy.
I have no problem. I have no problem being behind the scenes or pushing someone else up.
And pushing somebody else to do what you don't want to do.
Yes, what I don't want to do.
Got it.
I am very great at that. I am a great bully for the Lord.
If you watched our first episode, I said specifically that she bullied me into this podcast. She's a great bully.
I am. I'm great at convincing people to do things that they probably necessarily wouldn't want to do. And I think that is also a great part of being
a friend.
Yes, it is. It's an excellent part, because if every person in a relationship or in a friendship was exactly the same, nobody would get anything done. There wouldn't be experiences lived.
True.
I wouldn't be able to pull you out of your comfort zone. You wouldn't be able to stabilize me because I'm like this. I just go with the flow.
Yes,
that's part of that fearlessness. It's like, let's just do it. Let's just jump. Nobody has any money to do it. We will find it.
Here we are doing a podcast.
Nobody has GPS. Let's just go.
Let's just go do that.
Yeah, let's just go do that. So Anyway, so you mentioned something about
I did. There was a really good part. Okay, I see it now. In the article, it says another benefit of the friendship shelf theory is that you stop overlooking toxicity and bad behavior.
Yes.
It becomes easier to recognize when a relationship constantly drains you, crosses boundaries, or leaves you feeling diminished. So it's not like it's not so rigid that you're seeing this one person and you're going like, oh, she said this one thing to somebody else. I don't think I like her.
Right.
But what you can see is we can start at the bottom level.
Right.
Bottom level, and then have more interactions, and then you can decide where you want to place this person on the shelf or off the bookshelf completely.
Right. And see, and I earlier when I mentioned how I see how other people treat you in a relationship before I decide to connect with them. Like I may know them, me and that person may already be an acquaintance. I may even think, okay, on some level they're a low level of a friendship. And you may have a deeper relationship with them. I see how they interact with you and how they treat you. And I'm absolutely one of those friends that if they mistreat you, they'll mistreat me. So there's no reason
to be friends.
There's no reason for me to be friends at all. I don't have a personal ought against you other than I see how your relationships and your behaviors is with someone that you're in a relationship with. And so that is very personal to me. Even when I was I cannot name a time, even when I was in my younger friendships, like I had my best friend. My daughter's middle name is named after her. My best friend growing up. She's family. I still consider her my best friend now. She is her heart is on her sleeve. I mean, I'm talking about if you want to name the best friend you could ever have, all my life she's the best friend. And when I say we've been friends all our life, we have pictures when we were like 3 years old at the county fair together. I lived here, she lived up on the hill. I would leave my house in the middle of the night, something was going on because I grew up in dysfunction. Who didn't? And oh yeah, there are normal people out there. I forgot.
Who didn't?
I would leave my house and I would just walk up the hill, go to her house, had this knock, I would knock on her door. I had to make sure I knocked though, because black people in the hood, you know, you gotta be careful about that.
Gotta be careful.
But her dad had cameras on the front porch. Sometimes I would just lay on the front porch, sleep, and they would always open up the door. I would sleep in her sister's bedroom, or sometimes I would come in her room and sleep. And it was just a thing. They'd wake up, I was there, they would feed me. It was never even...
They didn't even have a question.
They didn't have a question. I mean, to this day, her mom is my mom, her dad, the whole nine. And so that's a relationship that I know I could always depend on. Even today, not having to, we don't communicate a lot. I know that I can call her. I've seen how she interacts with other people. I've seen how she treats people over our entire life. And so I know that she's someone trustworthy. Yes. I know that she's someone that's going to be... She's shown me. But then there's other relationships that I've seen her have with other people. And this was my issue growing up, is that I've seen how people mistreat her. And she still gives them an olive branch. I'm like, I don't like them. Cut them off. They dead. Yeah. They do something else to you, it's a problem for me. And she would be like, you can't be like that with everybody. She said, why? And I remember, and even this article, it mentions that this, critics say that this particular type of approach to, this relationship is where you shut people off or cut them off too quickly. And I'm like, I don't care, because if you show me once, I'm not giving you another opportunity to show me again that you could. Now, I'll watch from afar, because there is retribution and there is forgiveness. And
there's room for reconciliation.
There's room for reconciliation.
Now, see, reconciliation can include or not include me now having a friendship with you.
That's right.
Once things have happened, once I've decided that we're cool and it's fine, that doesn't mean I have to be your friend. That just means that I've reconciled with whatever happened between us.
Right. I have forgiven you. You've apologized. I've accepted it, and we moved on. And now the place that you once held is not the same level.
It's not the same.
And so with that relationship, I think early on, that was I realized that, I'm a good friend. And I know how to be a good friend because I've had good friends in my life. But I also know how to point out when someone is not being their true or genuine self. Yeah. And so I see that in the relationships that they have with other people. Then that translates to as we get older. And when you get older, you're looking for deeper connections.
Yes.
You're looking for people that can be with you in really hard times, because as you get older, of course, death becomes more common.
Yes, the vulnerability needs of yourself have now become deeper.
Right.
When you're in high school, you might not need to be that vulnerable with another person.
Right.
You may I didn't have nothing going on to be vulnerable with nobody in high school, but I mean, now that I'm an adult, I definitely do.
Right.
So it's nice to realize that friendships also need to evolve. So if they don't, that's another part of putting somebody on a shelf.
That's right.
Because you have friends that you met when you were in elementary school and middle school, high school,
and they don't have,
and maybe you don't have,
they don't fit anywhere in your life.
Right, like you don't have anything for them to do. You don't have anything to be like. You don't feel the need to be vulnerable with them, or you don't feel comfortable doing it with them. But you also aren't against going and having lunch or brunch or whatever with them at any other time. Like there's no animosity. we were real cool one time.
Right.
I'm cool with going to eat with you and just catching up and hee ha ha.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be a deep moment with you because you're not that type of friend that I have.
Right.
But I also have my friend, Fro, that's what I call her, name's
Yeah.
Sophronia.
I've heard you talk about her before.
I've known her since we were 10.
Wow.
Now, she's somebody that you would think like, oh, well, like, do y'all even still talk? She just texted me the other day.
Yes,
You know,
you
like,
still keep in
her
contact
son,
with
my
her.
kids are, she's the godmother to my children. I am her son's godmother. Like, we have kept in touch. She knows about my situation. She knows about
Yeah.
my moment. She knows all the things.
Right.
So she knows about my past, my present, and things that I would like to do in the future.
Right.
She knows what's happening
That's a
with me all
lifelong
the way. That's a
friend.
lifelong friend. I plan on keeping her forever.
Right.
Now, there's other people that I've known, and we were really, really good friends in the past, and maybe we've fallen off, but we still text each other happy birthday, you know, Merry Christmas, oh, I miss you, like, it'd be great to see you, but we don't
Right.
live in the same place anymore, and we just aren't
It's
as
just
close as we
conversation,
were.
yeah.
We weren't as close as we were, but you always wish that person the best, and if you got the opportunity to be with them, you
would be with them.
You know what I mean?
I think when you first moved here, that was one of the running jokes that me and your husband had, is that all of your friends were elsewhere.
Yeah, I ain't
and
got
so
no
you
friends.
kind of just turned into yourself and you're like, here. And he's like, you know, and I would say, hey, let's go do something. He's like, yes, please take her out, because
He's
all of
still
her
like
friends.
that, because that has not changed.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't
it
really have
hasn't
that many
changed.
friends. So if you say, hey, do you want, like when I told him that I was going to go to North Carolina or whatever to do stuff, he was like, all
Right.
right, what's the dates?
Yeah.
He never says, like, he never has a reservation or like, are you sure you want to go?
Right.
Or what am I going to do with these
There's
kids?
no negative
There's nothing
aspect of
negative.
it.
He goes, okay, what's the date so I can prepare my mind to be a single dad?
Right,
Oh, you going to leave? Great.
Great.
When are you coming back?
right. So I can
So
prepare,
I can
when I'ma do
prepare
this.
myself to
Right.
do the launch, to do all the things that you normally do and what I normally do. So I can
Right.
prepare to be the one person. He never is like, are you sure? He wants me to go out and be with people.
Right.
He wishes I would leave the house more to go be with people, and he wishes I had more friends.
See, and I have, and my husband is more so like, whatever I want to do, he's there. He just, you want to do it? Great, fantastic. Because I have such a personality that I've already had the plan. He
Yeah.
doesn't interject. He doesn't try to give advice. He listens when I talk nonsense, which is 90% of the time. You know, and so when it came to friendships and relationships, if he doesn't know I have a friend until I tell him. Like, because I'm at home all the time.
Yeah, true.
And then when
Where
I
you making these friends at?
Like, even, okay, so, you know, Life 360 keeps track of your location or whatever for safety reasons and all the other things. And he would ask me, like, he called one day I was over here and he was talking like I was at home. And he was like, you know, we go in the room where you ask Savannah what she wants to eat. And I was like, I'm not at home. And he was like, you're not? And I was like, then you see on the app. He's like, I'm not looking at the app to see where you are.
I just
Why?
assume you home for
Because
one.
90% of the time,
That's where you
99%
are.
of the time, I'm at home.
That's where you are.
So he never questions,
He
you
don't
know, if
question
I'm
none of
doing
that.
something or if I'm out with a friend. But you definitely need your spouse is definitely the right person to be able to push you forward to have connections and relationships.
He's
But
always pushing, and he's like, if you find someone that you want to go, like, please
just say it.
like, he's like, don't ask me.
Right.
Just tell me you're leaving the house.
I think I've even said before when you like, oh, well, I wanted to go. I think you wanted to go do something with a friend. I was like, you need me to babysit, and you're like, I don't know. Let me come back to that. And I think, or that might have been when you and your husband were going to go do something. And I was like, if I can't watch them, then, you know, I'll see if my oldest can watch them.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But I'm that type of friend as well. It's like you want to cultivate relationships. Now, I will say early on, growing up, you my friend. You're not nobody else's friend.
You
I don't
one of
care.
them.
Yeah, you got
was one of them.
All of them is your acquaintances. I'm your friend.
That's
because
it. You
I've
don't
been
have
there when you've been
more.
throwing up, and
You
I've
don't
been
have
holding your
more
hair
than me.
back. You know, we almost went to jail together. We friends. That ain't your friend.
That's
What
not your
what
friend.
have they done?
What they done? What have they done for you lately? Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, yeah. So yeah, no,
Yeah,
that can't be
yeah,
your
yeah.
friend.
They can't be your friend. I was very much like that, and the friend that I was talking about that we were really close, she used to say that. She was like, you can't be selfish. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't be selfish. I'm perfectly content being selfish. And me being your only friend and you being my only friend.
I'm all you need, baby.
I mean, and
I'm
that
all
does
you need.
show immaturity.
That's toxicity.
It
That's what it's
is.
called.
It is.
What this thing say? Toxicity in
Toxicity.
friendships.
It
I would have been.
is.
We
It
don't have to
is.
cut you off, Satin.
But in my defense, because I have a defense for everything, in my defense,
she does. It's always a reason for
that was coming from attachment and abandonment issues.
Yes, and
That
were
you learned
young.
in therapy later.
Yeah,
that you
figure that out later
realize.
on.
Yeah,
But it's okay. It's
Yes.
okay. So let's get into these
Okay.
these four shelves that this article came up with. So you got top shelf, mutual
Yes.
reliability, and deep trust. I can lean and they can lean back.
Yes.
Second shelf, close but inconsistent. I enjoy them. I just don't rely heavily. Third shelf, good time friends, light connection, lower vulnerability.
Oh, yeah.
Fourth shelf, friendly acquaintances,
Acquaintances,
warm but
minimal
minimal investment.
investment.
And that's where I feel like the fourth shelf is where I feel like people start.
Yes.
Like nobody should just start at the top shelf, second or third. Like I feel like everybody you meet when you're just
Yeah.
meeting and
It's a
saying,
red
"Hey, my
flag
name
for me."
is,"
Yeah.
yes, "Hey, my name is," you on the fourth shelf automatically, or you, with me, you might not even be on the shelf, but I'm gonna put you on the fourth shelf because we just met.
I might not even remember. Well, now for me, now as I've gotten older, I might meet you. What's your name again?
Yeah.
And it's not me intentionally trying to forget. It's like I've not made space for you in
Right,
my
'cause
mind
there's
or
no
my
reason
life.
to
Yeah,
quite
you know.
yet. So you got the fourth shelf.
Yeah.
Friendly acquaintances, warm but minimal investment. So that's
Yes.
just like I see you at the grocery store. Hey, girl,
Right.
oh, it's nice to see you. I might even avoid you at the store.
Oh, now
I'm
I'm
gonna
real.
be honest. I
I'm
might
real.
avoid you, but you're a friendly acquaintance, and I can just say, "Hey, how you doing?" and we can keep it moving.
I'm
Okay?
really good with confrontation. If I don't want to speak to you, I'm just not gonna speak to you. I'm gonna go
She
about.
gonna walk right by you and
I'm
pretend
gonna-
like you don't like.
And then if
no,
you say-
I'm a duck and dodge and try to get away.
And if you say something to the lines of,
put yourself back into the
oh,
camera.
and if you say something along the lines of, hey, how you doing? I'm be like, do we speak?
I know y'all couldn't really tell, but she just did the up and down.
Like, do we speak? Do we have a relationship outside of the common place where we meet at? No, we do not.
Now, see, that's just
And
rude,
I would say I wouldn't say it in that way, but I might say
basically.
something along the lines of, do we ever? I wouldn't like that place. Let's say if it's at church, I would say, do we speak outside of church? Do we speak at church other than the good morning? And they would be like, oh no, we don't. And I was like, let's keep that same energy. And I think that's really genuinely just. And I would probably try to do it in a better way. Now, before I wouldn't. I would just be very cutthroat.
Now listen, so is that, because on this podcast, we do also follow the Lord and
we
his
do.
teachings.
Now, is
So
that?
how do you feel the Lord would feel about you talking to somebody like that?
Oh, I'm 100% sure he's against it. That's not even a doubt in my mind.
I guess we are being real.
Yeah, that's not even a doubt in my mind. I just think my perspective has always been just very blunt because the people in my life have always been that way. Even in my family. My family is notorious for that. You have got to have some strong...
And stay in your place.
A strong mindset, because my family will build you up.
Just to break
nowhere.
you down.
They will pull, they do not build you up. They will tear you down
Nowhere.
constantly. And that may have some kind of negative connotation, but I think it also makes all of us stronger in our families. But I mean, we are there for each other. But it's a different.
Now, see, that's that.
It's a different kind of there.
trauma. That toxicity when you say, "Oh, they ain't nobody gonna build you up," but it makes you stronger.
It does. It does make you stronger.
It makes you. It makes you detached.
It makes you
Makes you
detached.
feel like being
It does.
weak is a problem.
It
Or
does.
it feels like showing your feelings is weakness.
All of that is true, and all of that is issues that I have addressed and still am addressing in therapy.
Yes. And
all
that's
of
what
that is
friendships
true.
do. Friendships help you understand.
They help you understand
that's toxic.
That is toxic.
And trauma, and we need to work on
something was
such.
wong with the way you grew up, and I'm like, really?
I'm not even saying that. That seems
No,
too bold for
no.
me. Your therapist can say that.
No. You should say that. You should definitely tell somebody that your parents were trash, or
they weren't great.
Yeah,
they weren't great, and it doesn't sound like the rest of your family.
Your parents did exactly what God intended them to do, which is bring you into the world, and that was it.
Left you.
That was it.
Left
that
it
was
up
the
to you.
vehicle.
And you know what? I think honestly, as a friend, as one of your top shelf friends,
Yes.
I do feel like at the fact that it's top shelf, like it's a liquor.
Like liquor. I was about to say
it's not lost
it
on
was
me.
a liquor.
But as a top shelf friend, you have blossomed greatly. Despite the way you grew up and the experiences that you've had.
Thank you.
Because
Pat on
the
the
more
back.
you talk to me, the more I'm like, baby, what is you talking about?
And I say it so nonchalant.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
You got somebody.
Yeah.
And you just
say it casually.
You just say it like it ain't nothing.
It's like if you do the most. It's like if you rob somebody and you're having a discussion with someone. I mean, that's just an analogy popped in my head.
Whose analogy? Who starts with that? Who goes if you got robbed? Like, who does that? That's not what I think about when I'm like, let me come up with an analogy to go with. No, okay, moving on. Third shelf. Your third shelf is your good time friends, like connection, lower vulnerability.
Yeah.
So those are the people that I was talking about where you go out and you say, hey, you want to go catch a movie.
Right.
I don't know if anybody really catches a movie anymore, but if you want to go out somewhere, you want to go to an event, you want to go do something where we're not having to sit and talk to each other. I think that's not intimate.
I think there's been different variations of that in our friendship. I remember I was going to a debutante ball, And neither one of us are makeup girlies. We don't dress up. Like,
See my black shirt. I'm struggling. I'm gonna have to buy some clothes if we're gonna keep doing this podcast. But go on.
yes, I have a lot of casual clothes because I don't go anywhere. But I was going to a debutante ball, and I was like, oh, I need somebody to help me go pick out a dress because I normally just whatever the theme is or whatever I think, I just find something that's comfortable. Whatever.
And go with
and I was like, go with me. You said, I'm not the person that needs to go with you. And I was like, well, you the only person I got, so you going, you know.
Because, girl, I need you to know that when I go to the store, I'm overwhelmed, anxious, and I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
So I'm not the person that's going to sit through the racks and look for stuff for you. I'm be like, all right, we 10 minutes in or 30 minutes in. Can we quit now?
But see, I already have an idea of what I'm looking for when I go into the store because, again, I don't like to waste time.
I never do. I don't know, and I do not like to shop. I've never liked shopping. When I was younger, my mom would take me to the store.
Yeah.
And especially if we had to find something specific.
Yeah.
That made it even worse. Because now we're not just shopping. We're looking for something that I can't find.
Right. That's
in my size and my big old feet and all the things. Like, it was always an issue, and I'm carrying that around. You can't. Because I don't like to shop for clothes. I got the same clothes, and when I buy some, my husband's like, ooh, put them on. Let me see them.
Right.
I got to put them on and dress. And he
I definitely hate doing
that.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of it either. I buy my clothes from Amazon.
Right. Because I don't like going and trying on clothes. But then I'm also like, what if I get it and I don't like it? Now I got to
or
send it back.
Five Below.
Now I got to send it back. I don't want to send it back.
See, I find something like, okay, for instance, if I find a place and they have a particular type of garment that I like, I will buy that in every color or every style that's possible. And so
Somebody got money? No, I'm just playing.
He got money?
Yeah.
That's what Quinta Brunson said. Mm-hmm. But I will find that just because it makes my life a lot easier. What tends to happen is I have the same thing in multiple colors, and I'm like, oh God, I need variety because there really isn't any variety.
And so as your friend, I'm gonna be like, you need to get you some variety in your life.
And
get a little spice in your life.
And for me, I'm always about, okay, well, what makes you comfortable? If that doesn't make you comfortable, don't wear it. And you're like, well, it looks more presentable. Okay, well, do you?
Right, because I had to change pants.
Yeah, and
she's talking about me right now. I had to change pants for this podcast because I was uncomfortable, and she was like, "Just put on something different."
You're like,
I can't even see my pants, can you? You can see just a little bit. Just the
right,
top part
it's
of my
not
pants.
even that important. Not even that important at all.
Anyway, that's why you're a top shelf friend.
That's top shelf friend.
But so you got your third shelf,
right?
So we're done with them. They, the good time friends. Go have some fun, but don't put yourself in a position where you're gonna have to be intimate and discuss things with them because that's not what you want to do with them.
Right, and but on the opposite side of that, they may see you as someone that they can be vulnerable with, even though they go out and have a good time. Now, I have a lot of relationships with people where they are more vulnerable with me than I am with them. And
my therapist is talking about that this morning.
Yes,
she said that happens to her all the time. I'm like, I bet it does.
Right, and I know all of the ins and outs of their life, and they know nothing about mine. I am so comfortable. They don't know my name. I remember details about them because I know it's important for them, but I also recognize my place in their life, and I recognize their place in my life, and that's something that I really appreciate. God has given me the gift of discernment, and I think, of course, it changes over time and it grows and you become deeper in it. But I really bless the Lord that has always been a thing for me. I didn't know what it was, when I was younger, but being able to see someone for who they really are and being able to accept them for where they are and where they, what they are about and not putting any unrealistic expectations on them. And so that gives me I think it brings me a lot of comfort when I meet people and I'm able to see that and not negatively, discerning them. I'll say that, not looking at them the way other people see them, because there's relationships that I have with people that you don't necessarily have with those people. Right. We know those people, and you see them differently. And I'm still like, well, I know that they are all of the things that you say they are. However, in my life, they hold a different place. So the position, but again, I think that's because the way you see friendships and the way I see friendships are different. Yours is always,
Apparently, I've been looking at them a little bit wrong, according to my therapist, but it's okay. We're going to work on it.
We're going to work on it. We're going to be able to have clarity.
Okay, second shelf. Close, but inconsistent. I enjoy them. I just don't rely heavily. So that could also be some of the people that you're talking about, where you even, a little bit above third shelf, but so we cool.
Right.
But if my tire pop, I'm probably not going to call you.
Right. But, and there's, or the other side of that is there are certain situations in which I would call them.
Yes, and others that I wouldn't.
Right, others that I wouldn't.
Because they ain't top shelf.
Right. Like for instance, I remember there was a medical issue and I ended up getting admitted to the hospital. And I remember the entire time I was in the emergency room, I was texting you memes. We were going back and forth.
She ain't said a word to me.
Said a word. Said nothing.
I'm supposed to be a top shelf friend. She ain't said a word to me.
Said a word. Nothing.
I'm in the hospital. I work in the hospital that she went to.
Yes.
Did she say a word?
No.
Not till I was about to leave. Then I was like, hold up. Let me back up and go see her.
But I also didn't tell my husband and my kids. Crazy work.
As the kids say, diabolical.
Diabolical. That is the word that I have taken.
Drove herself to the hospital.
During a medical emergency.
During an emergency. We ain't gonna say what, but during an emergency where something could have happened to her for real.
Yes.
Tripping. The Lord be having his hedge of protection all the way around you.
Because he know I don't
in
know.
A circle. It ain't even just it ain't just a partial hedge. It's a it's a bush all the way around.
He knows my heart. He also knows my thought process. My thought process is always, and of course that's, childhood trauma, is the doing it myself, being independent, but also just that whole aspect of not wanting to bother someone else. Or
you gonna let me be your friend or not?
Or if it's not serious.
You gonna let me be your friend or not?
Yeah, but see, my thought process is it really serious? But I mean,
it was serious enough
right,
for you to take yourself to the ER.
Right.
And how often do you do such things like that?
Never.
So you gonna let me be your friend or not?
I am now. But again, I had to go to the hospital, and I didn't tell anybody because I thought, okay, they're going to see me, they're going to release me, no big problem. And I was there for a very long time, and I was like, this is looking like they're going to keep me. And they had told me at the beginning, I think we're going to keep you. And I was like, oh, well, I was still holding out hope that I was going to go home. And at the time, my kid had to be somewhere else out of town.
This
all my reasoning, all my reasoning. And so, anyway, to the point of the story is that I was there, and I remember at some point when they said they were going to meet me, I was like, I think I need to tell the people that will be the ones that help me, because of course my husband wasn't in town. And I told you, I remember saying, oh, I think I need to mention they're going to meet me at the hospital. And you're like, what? Did you just go and they're just not meeting you? I was like, no, been here the whole time, which was like over the course of like 4 or 5 hours before they admitted me. And then I had to call my other friend because I was like, they said I had to eat before 12 o'clock because of course they would have to do some procedures. Mm-hmm. And
like 11:40, you called
her.
I
called her and I was like, hey, can you go? I don't even eat Taco Bell like that. I was like, can you go to the Taco Bell near your house? First of all, she answered the phone immediately because I never call her.
Because you don't call.
Right. Second shelf. Now, she's a top shelf friend, but this was a second shelf situation. I'll say that. Like, at the time, like, we've been close for a very long time. Our kids are relatives, but we just didn't have consistency, I'll say. And at the time, we started getting more consistency. And so she was, I say, an inconsistent, but, somewhat reliable friend. And I remember calling her because I knew I could call her. And she immediately answered, she's like, what is wrong? That's her first answer. And I was like, look, wait a minute, calm down. Let me explain. And then I went into the details just really quickly of just telling her, hey, I'm admitted to the hospital. Everything is okay. However, I need to eat before 12. Can you go to Taco Bell?
And that girl jumped up out of her bed. All in her bed, comfy, cozy, and probably rubbing her knees together like crickets.
Yes,
and she jumped out of her bed.
Goes to bed. She has to wake up and be at work at like 4 a.m. or something like that. So I really felt bad calling her, but I was like, I in my mind, I was like, I can't call AJ because AJ has 2 little ones, and her kids are grown like my kids. And so I was like, okay. And she's like, absolutely. I mean, she was there lickety split.
My kids got a daddy that be right here in the house.
Yes, they
sleep.
Do. They sleep. They do.
I would have got out of my bed.
They do.
And got you something. I just need you to know that I would have.
Yeah, you would have.
And I will in the future if you need me to.
Right. I think my mind.
Because I'm a top shelf friend.
You're a top shelf friend. I think my consciousness went to she has kids.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Just like I don't call you often because I'm like when I did need you to watch some kids back in December for William, because he was leaving, he needed to go to work, and I was at work already, and I'm like, she don't be feeling good. Like, I hate to have my little rowdy kids go in her house, and or they end up getting snotty or something, and then they give her something, or I'm like, dang, now her immune system already shot, and now she's gonna get sick. And she's been watching my kids. It's a whole thing. So, like, I don't ask you because of that fact.
And my thought process is, I love your kids.
Yes.
Like, I don't fool with kids.
I know.
We say, forget them kids.
She about fool with her own.
My kids are independent. Is what I'll say. But I genuinely love your kids, and your kids feel like mine when they come to my house. Like, even that's how I might have an interaction with them. And my kids, my youngest one, oh my God, she loves your kid.
Yeah, that girl saw us last Sunday and said, hey, because the kids were out on like Friday and Monday, she said, hey, I'll keep the kids on Friday. I said, who asked you?
Nobody.
She just want the kids. And
she
I'm
just
like,
want the kids.
Hey, kinda.
Yeah, you gave me a heads up. You like, look, your kid is planning something.
She plotting. You might want to see.
And when she got home and I said, how was church? She said, can we get? I was like, I'm asking about how is church.
How was the Lord's house?
And she had the nerve to say, can we get? And I was like, not on Friday, because I have something to do on Friday. I was like, maybe on Saturday. But I said, if we do it on Saturday, I wanted to make sure that I gave myself space in case I wasn't able to. And I was like, how about Saturday afternoon? She's like, oh, yeah, great. The kids can go with me. And Dad, when we go on our adventure, she goes on adventures every weekend with her dad, which is, wild. Not like she doesn't live in the house with them. She does. But she was just like,
but it's so cute.
Yeah, and she was like, I want to go and let them go on an adventure with me. Kids. Yes. And she was ecstatic and kept saying, when can I do it again?
But do you know what my kid did? The little one, the 4-year-old, they were leaving, and even the big one, the 8-year-old said, are y'all going to come in for a minute? Because he left the car running. He was like, no, buddy, we got to go home.
Right.
And he was like, the big one, oh, and Jaden, but I miss you.
Yeah, they get
and
tore
they
up.
leave. Jaden's crying.
They do.
Jaden don't cry about leaving other people.
He don't.
Jaden's crying.
But he does that with us.
And he's sitting there, and when they leave, he's still sitting there in his jacket and his shoes. And he's sitting there. I'm like, babe, take your stuff off. He goes,
now that's the only thing. I
miss them.
I feel so bad about that. Every time I keep her kids, when it was just our oldest one, Jackson, he would do the same thing. And I would be like,
boy, he like y'all.
And she would ask, like, what are you doing at the house? Absolutely nothing. Your kids have the same program my kids have. Super independence.
Yeah, they play on their own.
Super independence. My house is built for kids. You want to jump off that banister? Sure, go ahead. However, you may have to go to the hospital. Let's ask ourselves, is Satin going to take me to the hospital?
Is that a smart choice?
And Jackson would say, no. I was like, so should we do that? No. And I was like, great. So get them to have those rational skills. Let them analyze things.
And I appreciate it. As a friend, I appreciate you helping my kids.
As a friend.
Now listen, top shelf.
Yes, top
All right,
shelf.
here we are. Mutual reliability and deep trust. I can lean and they can lean back.
Absolutely.
Now this is the top. These are the person that you would tell just about
cream
anything to.
of the crop.
Creme de la creme. Person you tell just about anything to that you can actually be vulnerable with. Now, when I say being vulnerable, I mean crying and not feeling like this person is going to judge you for crying about what you're crying about.
Or share
judging.
your experience and your information.
And when you are talking to them, you are actively listening. She was talking about that. She actively listens to a lot of people. I only actively listen to people that I care about.
Right.
That's probably rude, but I actively listen so that I can respond accordingly to people that I care about.
Right.
So when she's talking to me, if we on this phone crying and snotting, I'm listening, she's listening, we're reassuring each other.
Right.
Or maybe she's the only one crying and snotting, I'm reassuring her and vice versa.
Absolutely.
It is not one or the other, and there is not I only know a little bit about you, you only know a little bit about me. We are both
deeply
top shelf to each other.
Yes, absolutely.
Because like we talked about, you can be top shelf to somebody else while they're your fourth shelf.
That's right.
But that's not what this is here. And that was one thing I tried to tell my stepdaughter. I didn't mention her in the first episode. I've got these 2 kids and a stepdaughter, and she is
bonus daughter.
Yes.
You know.
Because she would tell people when I was pregnant with Jaden, she would tell people, they would say, how many kids do you have? She'd go 2.5. So I thought she was talking about herself. She was talking about Jaden.
Yes, because he's still in there. He hasn't fully baked yet.
He wasn't done. She was like, yeah, she got 2.5. And I said, oh, you talking about him? She said, yeah. Because I was like, why would you refer to yourself that way?
Yeah.
Now she got a whole mama, so I don't take that role away from her at all. Right. So I'm like, whatever she wants to call me is what she calls me.
Right. Absolutely.
But I used to tell her all the time, you can't just meet somebody on the first day of school and now they're your friend.
She is so precious. I love her.
She is. But I'm like, you cannot just make everybody your friend automatically off the bat. And she was talking about, I met this girl, I said, what's her last name?
Yeah.
She was like, I don't know.
That's not important.
What's her favorite color? I don't know.
That's
is
not
she
important.
nice? She seems like it. Because you've only known her for 8 hours.
Yeah.
I said,
she has a very pure heart, protect her at all costs.
Yes. So I was telling her, I said, listen, I know you're only like 9 at this moment. That's cool. Y'all can be cool, but don't be expecting me to be taking you to people's houses just because y'all met for 2 days and y'all friends.
However,
we're going to have more conversations. There has to be more.
Absolutely.
So now that she's 14,
yes,
she'll say stuff like, well, yeah, they were my friend, but they did whatever, and she has moved them down on the shelf. And I'm proud of her for that.
That's absolutely great of how her critical skills, or her critical thinking has changed over time, and how those lessons that you, her mom, and her dad have all instilled in her, and she's been able to even witness in the relationships that you guys have with people that she's seen and people that she's like, oh, that's somebody that's been around since forever, and I can remember them. Like even your kids. Your kids know me before they knew my kids, and they call me, that's Savannah's mama.
Yeah.
Boy,
I got a name.
I got
my own name.
And I remember the first time you called my name, and I was like, no, I'm Savannah's mama. And I was like, wait a minute. he recognized me as my own individual person.
And there was one time Jaden called you. He was like, "There's Santa."
Yeah,
Her
there's
name is
Santa.
Satin. He was like Santa, and I said, "What? Like we don't even do Santa at my house. You
Right.
know, take that how you want to. We don't do it.
Right.
But I was like Santa, and he was like, "Yeah."
And I remember saying maybe because I used to buy him presents all the time.
Right.
Maybe
So then
that's
when
what
he
I
finally
thought.
saw you on the phone and he said it, and I was like, Satin. He's like, oh,
Ah,
Satin.
I was getting there.
Satin.
I was getting there.
I was like, who is Santa? You would think I would have figured it out. But anyway.
But
so,
my kids, my oldest is she's very much an introvert. She and AJ are quite similar in a lot of their life, their personality, like everything. I would come
everything
to AJ
is black and white.
Right. I would
in
come
our
to
world.
AJ actively and ask her advice, about like my kid. And I was like, when you did this with your parents, well, she was like, what makes you think I did it? I know you did it. I know this was your experience. Like, for instance, my kid is an adult, of course, and she was an adult when she went and had something done or whatever. And I remember coming to AJ and he was like, oh yeah, Charlotte didn't know about that till I had kids. And I was like, she's like, so she's already ahead of the curve. I was like,
nothing.
No.
Yeah, I wasn't. No.
That is, and I gave her my reasoning for why I needed to know. I was like, what if something, health wise? Well, he's like, well, I didn't have those issues, and I just went with the flow.
And she all right.
And
Ain't
she all right. She is perfectly fine. She is perfectly fine. She
Let that
is
girl
very
be a
much.
girl.
She is
Let that
very
girl be
much
an adult.
Yeah, she is very much an introvert in terms of meeting people, and I would make her like push her out there to do things or whatever. And at first, she just like you, she hated it. Absolutely loves all the
Yeah.
things I have made her do. Now,
Yeah,
the youngest
yeah.
one is the one that is super friendly
Yes.
and super sociable, and she meets people and sets up play dates. Mom, I gave your phone number to. I have always been a person that if I don't give you
do
my
it.
phone number,
Don't call me.
you're not gonna have it. And I would tell her, you have to tell these people to text me so I can know who they are, because they'll get
I'm
blocked.
not gonna answer it.
They'll get blocked. Or it's not gonna get answered. It's gonna get blocked. And at one point, I had a block on my phone that any number that wasn't saved in my phone just didn't go through. And I was like, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Because what if the doctor's office calls from a different number? What if something's
does
going
that?
on?
You. But
Good,
anyway,
just
I
cutting people
can't.
off.
I
Just cutting
can't.
people off.
Yeah, cutting everybody off.
So she's very sociable, and all her life with her friends, I have always. Luckily, my husband is someone that is like, okay, my kids wants to do it, let's do it. So he is the parent that
Goes on all the play
the
dates.
play
and
dates,
the
all of the
things.
things. I did it with the first one. I was like, I did one, you do the other one.
Yeah.
We split
It's your
it.
turn.
We split it. Your turn. I did it. I already did it.
Nothing
And
wrong with
luckily
that.
for me, the first one didn't care to do any of that.
I did it with the first
We
one.
had
We
a
did it
code
twice.
word, which I think this is still important anyway when you're dealing with your kids. We had code words, and we still have code words, but we had a code word like when she would go to like a party or something with friends, which I would make her go, and she would
Whose
call
parent
me.
does that?
Yeah, it was just terrible. She's like, I like to be at home. Let me be at home. And she would text me, and might say, give me a call or whatever, I want to leave. Or she would call me and she would say the code word so that she wouldn't seem like, okay, she was trying to leave from
Yeah,
an
so you
event.
could help her out.
Right. And so, or if something,
Get your tail home and wash these dishes.
luckily all of the parties that she went to, they
They were mild and
they were
fine.
they was extremely mild, which was really great. Of course, when she got to college, that was a different story. But I remember saying, we have code word, and I remember telling her, if you're ever in trouble and something happens, and you get the call, this is the phrase you need to say. And I also had the same phrase with Dr. Amy at church. I mean, not the same phrase, but we had that same thing with Dr. Amy because she was like an accountability partner for me a while, and we were really close. And when I would go places or do things or whatever, if I felt uncomfortable, she would always check in with me. And then, like, if we were, just checking in, like, even if I hadn't been out with her somewhere, and she just told me, oh, I'm going back home, to where I live at, which I won't say, but she'll say, I'm going back home, but I'm saying, okay, let me know when you get there. Instead of texting me and saying she's arrived, she would text like one of an emoji. We had a certain emoji. So if somebody sent it, if you say,
and somebody just sent a text from her
right,
phone, and
right,
she'd
said,
be like,
I'm home, I'm safe, I'm okay, and I'm like, that ain't her.
That ain't her.
That ain't her.
That's smart.
Which I think is important to do
That's
anyway.
smart.
But
yeah.
she's also somebody that I would consider. I would probably consider her a second shelf friend. We're not consistent in our conversation, but I know that if I need her, she
She's
can
there.
lean on me. I
Always.
can lean on her. That kind of thing.
I got cookies over here for her. She wanted me
Oh,
to get her some
yeah.
Girl Scout cookies, so I done got
Who's selling Girl Scout cookies?
my niece. You want Girl Scout cookies?
Do I need Girl Scout cookies?
That's not the point. Girl Scout cookies are necessary for everybody.
I don't need them.
Everybody needs Girl Scout. I don't like Girl Scout cookies, but I buy them for my niece.
I like Girl Scout cookies because I used to be a Girl Scout.
Of course you did. Another episode.
Another episode. I was a
Of
Girl
course, you used
Scout.
to be a Girl Scout.
In
I
the
didn't even
projects.
do nothing like that.
Grew up
God,
in
that's
the projects
probably
in the Girl
the
Scout.
anyway. Okay.
A great troop leader. What you talking about? I got to
I
learn about
believe it.
budgeting and managing finances.
I believe it.
Yes.
Because they probably wanted y'all to get up out the hood.
Probably.
Yes, wanted the next generation to move
They want
on.
us to have. We had some great programs in the housing authority. That's what it's now.
That is what it is. Yeah, I love that for you.
Yes.
But listen, all right,
Okay.
we've been talking long enough.
Yes.
So about friendships, I hope you learned something. I learned something about these friendships and about these shelves and how you can put people on the different shelves.
Right.
Everybody doesn't have to be your best friend, but you ain't got to cut everybody else off either.
Right. You can have seasonal friends. I think I wrote this down. Seasonal friends, lifelong friends, work
yeah.
friends, childhood friends,
Church friends,
church friends, party out, eat friends, which is what I think
Yeah.
that was the
third shelf. Good
Third
time
shelf.
friends. Yeah.
Right. And then, your pre-kid and post-kid friends, which
True.
I think is extremely important.
Yeah,
I
because some
have,
people that just doesn't, they don't understand what
Right.
it's like to have kids, so they don't get why you can answer the phone as much, why
Right.
you're not available as much.
and you need to have people that understand that if they're going to be friends in your lives. I know that because I got married young and had kids early, my friend group, like the best friend that I had, she didn't have kids, but she's the godmother to my oldest, and she's named after her. She was absolutely awesome. Now, does she know how to be? Is she a kid person? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Does she know how to change diapers? Do any of that? Absolutely not. Did she learn to do it for me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Fro
she
doesn't-
learned it,
she did
and
not know how to
she
do any of
called
that.
me quite often while she kept her for like a couple hours, and she was like, I just need to make sure she's still alive. Like, this is crazy. Like, who would trust me with their kid?
Who does that?
Because I know that you would give your life for her. That's why I trust you. She's like, but I know none of this stuff. I was like, I'm telling you.
She alive.
And and people that would keep my oldest would say the same thing. Like, she is so perfect. We woke up and she was sitting in the bed, just sitting there. Didn't do
Waiting.
nothing, didn't move. Like, I asked her if she wanted breakfast. She said, whatever you guys eat, these are my dietary restrictions, because even then she had, allergies. So she would know what she could and couldn't eat.
Yeah.
And they would all say the same things. And those are friends I'm like, that's why you got to make independent kids, man.
You got to make sure they can go anywhere.
Yeah, get some, what we used to call them?
Latchkey kids.
Latchkey kids. I was a latchkey.
You was a real latchkey
I was
kid.
a real latchkey kid.
Child, you left your house at what? When you
16.
16.
Yep.
Yeah. Another episode for
Another
another day.
episode.
But all right.
Another therapy
It's been
session.
lovely talking to you.
Yes, it's been lovely talking to you
Lovely.
for our second episode. You did so great.
Pressure.
Pressure.
Okay?
Under pressure.
Anyway, all right. Thank you for watching Rooted and Real. Have a good day.